Good morning, everybody. This is Bill Goulas. I appreciate you joining us this morning to talk about self-directed IRAs and property management. We're doing this jointly with IRA Innovations and JWB Real Estate Capital. We will, I'm Bill Goulas, and I'll be beginning the first part of this webinar speaking about self-directed IRAs. And then we have Landon Strickland also from JWB Real Estate Capital, who will be taking the second half of the webinar talking about property management. As you can see, this webinar is for educational purposes only. IRA Innovations does not give any tax, legal, or investment advice. We just want to teach people about what you can do within self-directed IRAs and the way that you do that. We are a custodian administrator, so we hold these type of assets, and so that's what we do is educate. If you've got any specific legal questions, tax questions, please consult your tax and accounting professionals about this. IRA Innovations has been in the business, the self-directed IRA business, for going on 11 years. And part of what we do is real estate. As you can see, self-directed IRAs are different than what most people call traditional IRAs. What self-directed IRAs allow is that self-directed IRAs allows you the opportunity to invest in the full breadth of what the IRS says can be invested in IRAs. Most people assume that the IRS only limits you to stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and CDs within your IRA, and that is incorrect. The code, if you ever really look at it, does not say what you can invest in. It says what you cannot invest in, and there are very few limitations as to what you cannot invest in. The code goes into specifics and says you cannot invest in collectibles, and then it starts to define collectibles as artwork, coins, stamps, rugs, those type of things. It says you cannot invest in life insurance. You cannot buy life insurance policy within an IRA. You cannot invest in wines and liquor within an IRA. And you are limited to the type of precious metals that you can invest in an IRA. Other than that, any other investment is allowed. And so while most people think, as you see on the left-hand side of the screen, that you're limited again to stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and CDs, self-directed IRAs, as they're called in the industry, allow you to invest in what the industry calls alternative investment options. As you can see on the first bullet, real estate and cash flow real estate. You can do precious metals. You can invest in a business. You can do a number of things within self-directed IRAs, and that's what we do. We hold the account so that you can do this. And today we're specifically looking at real estate in a retirement plan. As we said, the IRS allows you to purchase real estate in an IRA by its exclusion of not limiting as to what is to not putting real estate on the exclusion list. And when it talks about real estate, it means any type of real estate. So we're talking about single-family homes, condos, apartment buildings, undeveloped land, subdivision lots, all those type of things. Any type of real estate is allowed within an IRA. Now with that, the IRA actually purchases the real estate. So the IRA takes title to the real estate, not you specifically. So as an example, if I bought it within my IRA, it would be IRA Innovations LLC for the benefit of William Goulas IRA. That's how title would be taken. And because the IRA is different from you, it has its own tax ID, all income generated by that asset goes back into the IRA tax-free or tax-deferred, depending on the type of account that you have. Any expenses associated with that real estate must come from and be paid by the IRA. So, and that's what we do. We hold it. When income comes in, we make sure it goes into your account. When things need to be paid, you let us know who needs to be paid, and we cut that check. And so that's the administration that we do. We and then obviously sign the documents when there is a buy or a sell of the asset. that's a quick and high overview of purchasing real estate within your IRA. But that's really not the purpose that we're here for today. What we're really looking at to do is talk about property management. And like at this time, I'd like to introduce Landon Strickland with JWB to discuss the importance of having a property manager within four properties that are held by retirement accounts. IRA Innovations recently began working with JWB, and it has been very successful thus far. JWB is a full-service real estate investment, operating, and management company, and I'm sure Landon will get into that as to what all those mean. At this time, I'd like to welcome Landon Strickland.
Thank you, Bill. I certainly appreciate it, and it's a pleasure to be on with everyone today. We're certainly excited to partner with IRA Innovations. They have a philosophy of putting their clients first, and that's exactly what we're all about here at JWB. Many of you may be asking yourself, just who is JWB? And we were founded in 2006 here in Jacksonville, and we continue to do business in Jacksonville. Jacksonville is where we have cut our teeth in this market and established a vast network that we capitalize on. We're blessed to have investors in 32 states as well as 10 foreign countries. We have purchased, since 2006, over 800 properties, purchased and sold. And we've learned many lessons along the way. And a few of those, more specifically property management, will be the theme of the presentation going forward. An accolade that we're extremely proud of is we were named the 12th fastest growing real estate company in the country in 2012 by Inc. magazine. So that was a significant achievement and one that we are very proud of. So what does JWB do? We've spoken to thousands of investors over the past year, and we've learned a lot from their successes and from their failures. And like I said, one of the most common things we get asked is, what exactly do you guys do? And the simple answer is that we offer a vertically integrated approach to cash flowing real estate. We have everything in-house from beginning to end and all steps in between. The ability to manage the investment is a tremendous value that we can offer our clients. It really works well when we partner with self-directed IRA custodians, such as IRA Innovations, because they're experts in the field and they know exactly what you can and cannot do within your self-directed IRA. Many of our clients come from self-directed IRA custodians. Next, I'd like to just quickly share a testimonial by one of our clients, Brian and Jenny Topshire from Virginia. They own multiple properties with us and say that they just don't have the time to look for rental properties. The great thing about JWB is that we offer the ability to have it all done for them. So 3 things we're going to discuss today on the webinar are, why do you need a property manager, the right questions to ask to make sure that the property manager has aligned goals with the investor, and finally, when to hire a property manager. So why do you need a property manager? Well, there's a multitude of reasons, and I'll touch on a few that are very important. The first of which is marketing. To fully market a property, you need to utilize multiple mediums. The days of listing a for rent ad in the paper are long gone, so you need to find a property manager that utilizes many different mediums. You need to advertise on multiple websites, really get the most exposure you can to the right clientele, which can be extremely time-consuming. The next important factor would be tenant underwriting. And tenant underwriting, I cannot stress the importance enough. Finding the right tenant is vital. It can certainly make or break your investment. We've heard horror stories of investors who have rented out to a tenant, and then 3 months down the line, that tenant just disappears on them. They stop paying rent. Many times, had a thorough tenant vetting taken place, those situations could have been avoided. We believe at JWB that 80% of a property manager's job is finding the right tenant. couple things you want to look for when you're screening tenants is, are they going to treat your home like it's theirs? Pull a background check on them. Look at for any previous felonies or previous evictions. We've found that a tenant is 33% more likely to disappear on you if they have a prior eviction on their record. Finally, contact their previous 2 landlords and verify that A, they paid rent on time, and B, they left the property in good standing. This upfront tenant underwriting is extremely time-consuming as well, but will certainly pay dividends in the long run. Rent collection. Rent collection is another vital aspect of why you need a property manager. You want someone that is proactive. Don't let the clients fall behind on their rent. You want to be fair, but you want to be firm. Next, evictions. Evictions, they're certainly not fun. Anyone who's ever been through an eviction certainly understands and probably grimaces. Bill, you have any idea what the typical eviction timeline is?
I'd say somewhere around 10 to 15 days.
You know, it's actually much longer. It comes out to about 45 days. And it's a lengthy process that can be quite expensive because, you know, not only do you have to take in the time of 45 days you have to get tied up in court, you have attorney fees that are associated with getting the property back up to snuff so it can be rented out again. And finally, you've probably got a tenant, if you're in that eviction process, is not paying rent for 45 days. So a good property manager can take this bad situation and kind of help expedite the process and hopefully end up saving you some money in the long run. And the final reason you need a property manager is maintenance. I'm sure every homeowner on here understands that maintenance is part of the deal with home ownership. Houses tend to have some issues, whether you like it or not, and it's how you handle those situations that's going to save you a buck in the end. A good property manager can field all your phone calls, whether it be 2 o'clock in the afternoon or even 3 a.m. at night. They can schedule repairs. They can determine if the tenant's ultimately responsible for those repairs, and then they can also bring solutions to you. The maintenance arm of a property manager certainly adds value, and you as the investor have to trust the team that you're working with. In turn, the property manager needs to bring you in the loop on any large, expensive repairs. Another quick testimonial we have is Tony Allegretta from Tampa. And Tony says that the JWB team has made it easy for him to run a passive real estate business while working and living out of town. We have a vast majority of our clients that live out of town. When you're out of town, you don't have the ability to check on the property on a daily basis. That's where property management comes in. Second topic I'd like to discuss with you is just some questions to ask your property management company. You always want to ask these questions and determine if they're a good fit for you as an investor. So the first question I would ask is, what real-time reporting is available to the owner? Do they have a secure portal in which you can log on at your leisure? Obviously, people have day jobs, so you may not be able to check on the property or meet with the property manager from 9 to 5. So do they have an online portal that you can utilize whenever you want? Next question I would ask is, what percentage of their tenants re-sign their lease? Are they incentivized to do so? Some management companies prefer to have residents move out just so they can re-rent the property and get another tenant placement fee. You want to look for long-term leases. Look for a company that signs tenants for 2- and 3-year terms, because obviously that maximizes your cash flow and the tenant in the house for long term. Next, I would ask, how are large maintenance requests handled? So do they keep you in the loop during any necessary maintenance calls? Let's say you have a leak in the slab leak. Are they going to get you on the phone and let you know what's wrong, how they can fix it, and what kind of fees are going to be associated with that? Next question I would ask is, what are the fees associated with property management? Some management companies charge a flat annual fee on top of everything else. What's the incentive for there? The manager should only get paid when you get paid. And then finally, I would ask what the historical maintenance and vacancy expenses are to you as the owner. You want to look for someone who can back up the industry standard, which is 5% for maintenance and 7% for vacancies. We have another client testimonial, Amy Stanley. And Amy says that she appreciates our help so much for the help and explanations that we offer. She's really enjoyed working with JWB, and she thinks we're awesome. So the final topic I'd like to discuss is when to hire a property manager. Bill, when do you think the best time is to hire a property manager?
Probably when the house is fully fixed up and ready to be rented.
You know, you would think so. You would think you need to go through the process of getting the house up to snuff and ready to rent. But I would advise you to hire a property manager before you even buy the house. And that's key because you want the manager lined up, ready to go. You want to have aligned goals. So they need to be in the same mindset as you, the investor. I would confirm rental amount before you buy the house as well. So property managers have a way of dropping rent rates from what you would think. So let's say that a property manager makes 12% of the gross monthly rent. If you rent out the property, or if they rent out the property for you at $900 a month, that means they're making $108 a month in profit. Now let's say the top market rent is actually $1,000, not $900. But that means that the property manager would have to put in, let's say, 20 more hours a week in order to find the perfect tenant. So if you do the math there, they would only make an additional $12 a month for 20 hours worth of work. I wouldn't do that. You probably wouldn't do that. So why would the property manager do that? It's crucial to agree on that monthly rent before you buy the property. Or else don't be surprised when the property manager doesn't agree with your rental income estimate. So JWB Team, here's a picture of us. There are 35 of us located here in Jacksonville. There are 3 facets of our business, which are acquisitions. That's the way we acquire our properties. And they're charged with doing a thorough underwriting of the property before we purchase it, so that it meets the financial requirements of us as a company and you as the investor. Second aspect of our business is rehab and construction. Once we have acquired the property, we do a very thorough rehabilitation on the property, and we also build new construction homes for rent on raw land. And then finally, what we've discussed today, the third arm of the company is property management. We do a wonderful job of vetting out tenants for you to ensure success going forward and many months of profitability.
Okay, and Landon, can I interrupt just a second?
Sure,
you said acquisitions, so that means if we've got somebody out here in the audience that has a self-directed IRA, wants to get into real estate, has never really done that, they can come to JWB and they will help them acquire that property as well as manage it.
Well, the acquisitions piece that we have listed here is an internal acquisition for us. So in the grand scheme of things, the investor within the self-directed IRA would be coming to us to purchase a rent-ready home, one that we've already acquired, we've already rehabilitated, and we've got lined up to be rented or is rented.
Okay, and so it's just a turnkey process there, and they would just pay that, buy it from JWB into the IRA?
Correct. It's 100% turnkey passive rental. So you may be asking yourself, what's the ideal client for JWB? And we've come up with a list of similar characteristics of our clients. and you're probably a business professional. You probably have a full-time job. You have to look at this as an investment. You're buying an investment. You're not buying a second job. You prefer the passive approach. You're not looking to be hands-on. And you're comfortable out of area. It's no surprise that the vast majority of our clients are outside of the Jacksonville market. And that's simply because this model doesn't work all around the country. In many areas, real estate prices are just simply too high. And finally, we want you to have a long-term outlook. This is a long-term investment. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme, and it's not a flip-and-make-profit scheme. We want you here for the long term, and we want to set that expectation properly. Majority of you on this call are probably not our clients, and that's certainly okay. We tend to work with people who fit this bill of the ideal client, and basically that allows us to go to work and work to provide you with the highest profit and passive income on a monthly basis possible. So how do we continue this conversation? There are a couple ways that you can get in touch with us. The first of which I'd invite you to go to sdirainvest.com. If you'd like to email us, we can be reached at info@jwbcompanies.com. And finally, we can be reached at 904-677-6777. So at this time, I'd like to thank everyone for listening. We're going to go through a quick question and answer session. I see we've got a ton of questions floating in. So what we're going to do is just pick out a couple and answer those to the best of our ability. So the first question is directed towards Bill. And Bill, that question is, what type of real estate can I purchase? Can I purchase my own home within an IRA?
Well, there are really two questions there. One, the type of real estate you can purchase any type of real estate. Whether it is single-family homes, condos, duplexes, apartment buildings. One real odd one that we have is cemetery lots, you could say, is real estate. So any type of real estate can be purchased within an IRA. The IRS, however, limits certain people, that are called disqualified people, from benefiting from assets within the IRA. So disqualified people to the IRA is the IRA holder, their spouse, parents, grandparents, children, grandchildren, and the spouses of those people. So in direct answer to your question, no, you cannot buy within your IRA the house that you live in because you are a disqualified person. You are a disqualified person to your IRA and therefore cannot benefit from assets within the IRA. That would go for any children that you might have. Now, on the other hand, if you buy a house and you could rent it to a sibling because they are not considered disqualified people. You could rent it to a cousin. They're not disqualified people. Those types, just direct descendants and descendants. So, and also with that, those disqualified people, you cannot buy and sell assets between the IRA and these people.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks, Bill. Mm-hmm. Next question we have is directed towards me, and I'm happy to answer it. As an investor, what should I expect from maintenance and vacancy cost? And there is a industry standard in which 5% for maintenance and then 7% for vacancy. So as a whole, you need to set aside, I would advise, at least 12% of your monthly cash flow into a rainy day fund. And hopefully you never need it, but as we all know as homeowners, things come up. So it's nice to have that extra rainy day fund to limit any funds out of pocket for you as the investor. Bill, I've got another question for you here. And that question is, how long does it take to transfer my IRA from a traditional to a self-directed?
What we like to say is usually it takes about 3 weeks. That's a comfortable time frame. It can be done faster than that, there's some expense in doing it that way because of wiring money between banks and stuff like that. If somebody's really under the gun and found something they want to take care of, but usually on average it takes about 3.5 weeks to transfer that cash from the existing custodian over to IRA Innovations.
Gotcha. Okay. Looks like we have another question for us, and that question is, what's the average return on investment over the course of the year for an investment property at JWB? And that varies. Typically, though, we see, or our investors see, a return of, depending on whether or not they purchase the home in cash or if they end up financing it, but typically you're going to see a return anywhere from 8 to 12, 13%. And Bill, looks like we've got one last question for you.
Okay.
And how does a property manager get reimbursed out of the IRA? Should the investment property need emergency repairs?
At that point, the owner, the owner, would direct us to pay the bills, just like it would be for any bills, to the management company. So you would come in and say, yes, we've got this expense, we need it to be paid, we've got a form, it's called a payment authorization form. You'd submit that to us, and we would cut the check to the property management company.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, I'd like to leave everyone with ways to continue this conversation. If you'd like to get in touch with Bill, he can be reached at bill@irainnovations.com. His website is www.irainnovations.com. And his telephone number is 205-985-0860. If you'd like to get in touch with us here at JWB Real Estate Capital, I invite you to go to www.sdirainvest.com. You can email us at info@jwbcompanies.com or call us at 904-677-6777. So with that being said, I'd like to thank everyone for attendance today. It's been a pleasure. Bill, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I know it's awfully cold over there in Birmingham, so warm up, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody,
Take
for coming.
care, everybody. Thanks.
Bye.